Hello everyone, my name's Hank. It's been a while since I've done this. Just want to kind of get back to the swing of things. Been in and out of the hospital, had some unexpected surgeries. Not that I need to share all that information with you, but for the topic that I'm here to discuss, it's rather relative to the fact that I have been in and out of the hospital. I want to take time today to discuss Kratom. I am grateful for the fact that we have such a wonderful natural resource at our disposal to utilize at this time for the means of, well, for me, pain control. For many others, it's for other symptoms such as post-traumatic stress syndrome, anxiety, depression, alcoholism, drug addiction, and has been proven to be beneficial for students to use Kratom to enhance their mood and attention so that they can better focus and learn. And I can contest to that because I have used Kratom for school as well, as I am a full-time student. So it has been beneficial for many reasons for myself. Now, I feel that it's important to keep videoing progress so that we can keep a track record of one person so that it can help others to understand. I've been leaving my blog on here, and you can review previous videos, but I wanted to expand on why Kratom is beneficial and how it is that the FDA, or why it is the FDA is trying to have this natural element or resource banned. Right now, we know that the FDA held an illegal hearing early 2012, I believe it was, where Kratom was on the shelf, and the FDA found a possible means of making marginal benefits, meaning that they were going to capitalize on banning Kratom because they had invested millions up to that point to prove that Kratom was a bad chemical. If they lose and Kratom is allowed to be used and consumed as it stands to be, they will lose billions of dollars, because if the FDA is given the opportunity, the FDA will extract one chemical and rename it, and the chemical that they would extract is not even significant. It's a element in the Kratom that has no scientific purpose. It doesn't help, it doesn't bother anybody, but just by removing that one chemical, it gives the FDA the ability to rename the item or the resource and slap a hefty payment sticker on it to make it near impossible for common day citizens to utilize the natural element or resource. Now, I keep calling it natural because it has been proven that Kratom is a member of the green tea tree family. It is from Malaysia. It's been used for hundreds and even thousands of years in Malaysia for medicinal purposes and has been used for ceremonial and ritual purposes. Now, for practical use today, we have learned that it has helped with alcoholics and drug addicts to come off of their addiction. It has helped, well, combat veterans to overcome pain and post-traumatic stress and anxiety and depression, as well as it has helped the common day citizen the same way. The FDA wants you and everyone else to believe that it is an addictive element, which scientists around the world have proven that there is no addictive properties within Kratom, so that is false. The FDA has tried to prove or claim that Kratom has caused more than 40 deaths. That has been proven inaccurate, as the autopsies of each of those deaths revealed that Kratom was in traceable amounts, and in most of those deaths, Kratom hadn't even been consumed within the 24-hour period of the death. But in the autopsy report, it revealed that those same deaths were a result of polydrug death, where multiple drugs had been identified in the bodies, and as well as alcohol. Now, those deaths were also identified to be caused by toxic levels of designated drugs such as heroin, crack, crystal meth, and yes, even alcohol, which are all synthetic drugs. So the FDA has tried to lead everyone in society down a rabbit hole so that they could benefit the most by banning Kratom, so that they can capitalize on marketing it themselves. The FDA director at the time has since stepped down to try to redesign Kratom so that he could sell it to pharmaceutical companies, which if they get their hands on it, we know that the price of the element will skyrocket, and once again we're dealing with prices that are not realistic. So I wanted to annotate the way that Kratom has helped me personally. As a combat veteran, 22 years in the military, you can see a scar across my neck. I spent the last 2.5 years of my career in the hospital, where I inherently suffered and succumbed to injuries at one point, and actually was announced to be dead and had to be resuscitated twice with the use of an AED. When I came out of the hospital, I was being given ketamine infusions once a week for months. I was given the not Toradol, but the extended release Dilaudid, the fentanyl patch, morphine, hydrocodone, oxycodone, gabapentin, all kinds of synthetic drugs was issued to me through the military medical services, I guess. And those were not covering the pain. As anyone would know that has had battles with addiction or substances such as morphine and such, you know that the more you use, the more you need, because your body builds up a tolerance. And the more you use, the more likely you are to become addicted. So yes, I was using a lot to help control the pain. I wasn't doing it intentional, but my body developed a high tolerance where I inherently found myself being addicted. Then when the government announced the narcotics crisis, they took everything away, and I ended up going through severe withdrawal where I was hospitalized for more than 2 weeks to help get me back on track. which, even though I was hospitalized for 2 weeks, that doesn't cure the addiction properties and that were in my body, because everyone knows that those chemicals stay in your body for an extended period of time. So I needed something. And the pain control clinic in the Balboa Naval Hospital and the Bay Pines VA Hospital I stated that my cases were too complicated for them to treat and disqualify me from their program. So I was left with my ass in the air, so to speak, on having to find a means to help control my severe chronic pain, along with my post-traumatic stress, which was leading me to severe depression, and my anxiety was off the roof. I mean, it was real high. And it wasn't until I moved to Florida that I learned of this substance called Kratom. I was introduced to it by another veteran, and we had been advocating ever since for Kratom. Since I've been on Kratom, I have graduated college with honors. I have lost nearly half or more than half of the weight that I had gained, which I had gained more than 100 pounds using those synthetic drugs. And my pain is more tolerable using Kratom than what it ever was using the synthetic drugs. So I have been using Kratom for more than a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And I hope that Kratom is not banned from the shelves so that people like you and I can utilize it. If the FDA is successful and they get Kratom banned, millions of users will inherently suffer and find themselves having to search for another means to help control or help with their pain, help with addiction, and all the other medicinal properties that it offers. People will be forced to find another means to help control that. And yes, a good majority of those millions of people will have to go to a illegal source to obtain those elements. So why should we ban Kratom? Is it because the FDA says it's bad for you? If you're watching this, do a little bit more research and find out for yourself. I think you would be surprised. If you're in a location where it has not been banned, I highly recommend giving it a try. Now, that doesn't mean go out and eat or drink as much of the Kratom at one time as you can, because it is just like any other chemical that you put in your body. Just like you wouldn't want to go and eat a whole bottle of no-dose to increase your energy level at one time, you're not going to go and eat an overabundance of Kratom to try to cure your pain. You can build up a tolerance if you do that. If you take Kratom in excess, above the limits of what a person's body can metabolize Kratom, you can develop a tolerance, which will make the Kratom obsolete anyway. It doesn't take much to get an effect. The less you use, the better. I found I am at the point where I use 2 teaspoons and a cup of lemonade. And the lemon extract helps the medicinal properties activate within the Kratom itself. So there are elements out there that you can mix into Kratom to make Kratom stronger, so to speak, so that you don't have to take as much. Look into that. Find out what those are. Lemonade, spices, different types of acidic properties can make a chemical reaction so that your body can metabolize the Kratom most effectively. And I think you would be surprised on how well it will work. Keep in mind, just because it feels good, that doesn't mean take more. That just means to maintain that level, because if it's working, it's doing what it's supposed to. Now, if you're trying to make it so that you feel better and you just keep adding to it, you will find yourself not feeling well. People have gotten sick from taking too much. I've tried it once just to test the theory, and it is true. I felt like I had taken a lot of no doses because I had an overabundance of energy, but I felt that sick feeling in my stomach. Now, I have since not done that again, but people do it every day, and that's one of the main complaints that you hear of today that people say that they experience when taking Kratom, and it's because they are not taking it as they should. And just like you shouldn't go and drink an overabundance of Coca-Cola or any kind of product that has caffeine or sugar in it. You can't have too much in the aspect of making yourself feel sick. So use it wisely and use it for the main reasons that you need it for. And people can use it just for leisure use, just sitting at home. If they just don't want to drink or they don't want to use drugs, this is your opportunity to use an element that is 100% natural. But we are standing in a time where the FDA is pushing really hard to have Kratom banned. And if it does, like I said, millions of people will suffer, and the FDA will stand to benefit in the billions of dollars. Now, going back to what I was saying about how the FDA has decided to remarket the product, if they succeed, like I said, they will manage to make billions off of it. And I just can't fathom for any reason why we should not focus on how criminal this activity for the FDA actually is. Why we should allow those that utilize it for the proper use and purpose to suffer. So, good luck with your endeavors and all that you do, and I hope you find peace.